Good evening. Welcome to Xfinity Sports Extra. Big Monday coming up tomorrow. There's a total eclipse and a Vance Joseph media briefing. Which one will be bigger? One will mean total darkness. The other might shed some light on the Broncos quarterback competition. Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. Paxton got the start last night against the Niners. 9 for 13, 39 yards, 3 yards per pass play, and very quick to tuck it and run. 3 rushes, 27 yards. And then Trevor got back in. He went 8 for 11, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, passer rating 128.2. Not pictured here, Kyle Sloter. Slaughterhouse was 7 for 7. But after the game, Trevor and Paxton asked if they had done enough to win the starting job.
I think so. I'm not the coach, but, I think so. I take it one day at a time, one rep at a time. And, I think on my end, if I take care of my business, everything will kind of shake out how I want it to, hopefully at least.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess that's really up to the coaches to decide. I'm just worried about coming out here and doing the best I can and progressing day in and day out with these guys and getting better with these guys.
All right, there you have it. Team Trevor or Team Paxton. Right here I have Team Troy and Team Woody. Broncos insider Troy Renck and Denver sports legend and ESPN star Woody Paige. All right, let's not waste any more time here, shall we? Troy, you were there last night, talked to everybody involved. As of right now, which quarterback has won the starting job?
I mean, it's clear at this point, Lionel. Trevor Siemian has outplayed Paxton Lynch. They've had almost 8 months to make this decision. When you look back to January, the mini camps, you go through 3.5 weeks of camp, 2 exhibition games. Siemian is better right now. That doesn't mean he will be better throughout the season. I still think it's going to take both guys to get him to the finish line. But for me, that makes no sense to not make a decision at this point. Trevor has won the job, Woody.
Well, I don't know that you have to make a decision at this point. I think you can keep it going. And I think it will go on all year long. Yeah. That whoever, and it's going to be Paxton Lynch who's going to be the backup, he's going to become the most popular man in town. And I think during the course of the season, we're going to see both of them. I think because of what they're going to face and confront. But I can tell you whose choice they have in Memphis, because I just spent the weekend in Memphis, Tennessee, my hometown, and they are all on Team Lynch, not Siemian.
Memphis. All right, well, the decision won't be made by members of the team, members of the media, or members of the general public. Vance Joseph, Mike McCoy, Bill Musgrave, John Elway, the decision makers. No official word today. Broncos coach Vance Joseph has a 1:15 media briefing tomorrow at Dove Valley. Will he make the announcement then, as we head to the 3rd preseason game Saturday night against Green Bay? Or will Trevor and Paxton get 1 more week of practice, 1 more preseason game to make their moves? Vance said last night, best case scenario, starter is named this week. But then again, maybe not.
That would be ideal, absolutely, because our starters, should play a half of football versus Green Bay, and that's going to be our first official game plan game, of the season. So that would be ideal, yes. I'm not sure. Again, the time frame's not important. What's important is we get it right. So it could be this week, it could be next week, but we're going to go back and watch the tape and see where we are.
All right, Woody, on Eclipse Day, is there any chance Vance will leave us in the dark?
No. Trevor Siemian,
I like that one. I made it up.
Trevor Siemian didn't win the job, but he didn't lose it. Paxton Lynch lost it. And here's what disappointed me as an observer for 40 years of Broncos quarterbacks, that Paxton Lynch needed to go out and throw the ball, medium, throw it long, be aggressive. When he took off running, show us more. He looked like a guy that thought he had the job, and he knew he didn't have the job, and he just didn't come out, Troy, and really play to win the job. So Trevor continued to be his conservative game plan self, and he won the game by default.
Lynch made a move in practice out there in Santa Clara, and then he got to the game, and I'd said this, Trevor does Trevor better than Paxton does. Paxton, go be you. Sometimes in life, right? Lionel, you got to say what the heck?
Well, the trigger is what Woody suggested John Elway tell him, just like he told Tebow at that time. Well, guys, look, Broncos country is divided. I asked Broncos fans on social media, Twitter, Facebook, give it to me. Give me your pick. Nick Valdez wrote, gotta be Trevor, take the brain over the brawn, who's not up to speed. B-Rick said, Trevor simply won the job, playing better in practice and games. David Silva, Trevor, because he can make more than one read. Stanley London, Trevor, he flat out outperformed Paxton. Ted Johnson, Paxton, Trevor is Kyle Orton Jr. A.M. Abeda said, neither. I'll take Kyle Sloter. A vote for Slaughterhouse. All right, guys, country divided. Broncos country. This has happened before. We go way back. Since '99, though, there's been Greasy and Brister. There's been Plummer, Cutler. There's been Orton, Tebow. And Greasy told us the other day, guys, just because you win the job, which we talked about a little bit, doesn't mean you hold the job. If you're 1-3 at the break, Brian said, the other guy's coming in.
Well, and Brian got put in a terrible position. I covered that 1999 team. They're coming off back-to-back titles. Brister was the guy. The locker room loved him. Right before the season, they do a pocket change and put Greasy in. Shanahan shoved it down the team's throat. They start 0-4. Right. Season goes into the abyss, Lionel. And that's why I bring it up here, because Vance Joseph has to choose the guy that won the job. Otherwise, he undermines his own credibility in the locker room, Woody. Like, he can't look him in the face right now and say, no, Paxton's the guy. Or even, there's no argument to keep going another week. You didn't see enough.
I think you and others, truthfully, are overdoing that. The players play. They will play with whoever's there. When Tebow came in and replaced Kyle Orton, they played with Tebow. Most of them didn't like him. They didn't like that offense they were playing in. Ask Demaryius Thomas. But they play their own game. They stay within their position. So I think they will accept whoever it is. But again, for people in Denver, you've been very fortunate.
Yes.
For the last 50 years almost. You had Peyton Manning for a number of years. You had John Elway for all those years. You even had Craig Morton, who played well for 4 or 5 years. This is what's typical in the National Football League,
right,
that you go through this every 5, 6 years, everywhere in the NFL except in New England, maybe.
Well, if you start Trevor and replace him with Paxton, I think that's much easier than naming Paxton as a starter and have to pull the #1 pick and put Trevor back in. So we'll see how it goes.